Hey everybody, this is Rhonda with Miss Baum Designs, and I decided that I need to do something with all of this leftover yarn from the Premier yarn packs that I ordered for the challenge that I'm entering that is being hosted by the Creative Grandma. And I ended up having about 352 total grams of yarn left. Each box is about 400 grams. So just under half of a full box left. I decided what I want to do. I'm going to take this yarn. I'm going to lay it out in as best of a gradient as I know how, because I'm not real good at this. And I am going to make one big giant yarn skein out of it. So stay tuned as we start putting this in some sort of order here. All right, so I think I have the color arrangement. So we're going to start with the lights, whites and grays, and move into some tans and grays, and then yellows, greens, paler blues, pinks and purples, oranges and reds, and then the darker navy blues and black. I think that's how we're going to tie it all together. And some pieces obviously are going to be very short and others very long. But this is what we're looking at right now. So I will keep you posted. I'm going to start tying things together. Okay guys, I am starting to tie my yarns together, and I am just using a magic knot. There's a lot of videos on how to do this. I'll try to show it here. I'm not sure if this is the best angle. So I just joined these two whites together, and so you can see there's a little knot there. But usually, you know, it just works into your project without much notice, especially for crocheting. Now knitting, I wouldn't do this for knitting because, but anyway, I have a lot of white, so we're gonna go just the same. This one's a little, I should have done this on the other end. I should have started with this one. I think I'll start with this one, and this is kind of a different white all the way in between. So I think I'm gonna join these two together here, and all I do is I take one end, tie it in a knot around that yarn, one end, take the other end, tie it in a knot on this end, and then we just pull it together. And then all you gotta do is snip just a teeny tiny bit of yarn, and I made that one probably bigger than I needed to. And then all you have left is these little tiny clippings. And then you can wind this all back into one ball of yarn. But I'm going to start on this end. I want this to be the beginning. So I'm going to rewind this, and I'll be back. right, we're up into the greens now. My ball is getting kind of big and I still have all of this to go. All the way up into the blacks, which will be my last color. So I have a long ways to go. I will see you in a little while. Okay, we're back and we only have the dark colors left, a few dark colors. We're into this really pretty green teal. You know what? I like the dark colors. I'm just not a pastel type person. I just really like the darks. I'm just more of a darker person. Not as in darker with personality. I think my personality is pretty light and friendly, but I know I'm drawn to the darker colors. I'm not a big rainbow fan. I mean, I like some rainbows, but I feel like I'm always drawn to these much darker colors. That's why when I first saw the Premier Yarn Box challenge from Creative Grandma and I went in there, I'm like, no, I like the brights better. To me, they were darker. I don't know why they're called brights because they're a little bit darker in color. I like the maroons, the blues, the darker blues. I like all these darker colors. So this ball of yarn goes from all extreme, from one end of the color spectrum to the next. So this is gonna be interesting to see what it looks like in both a skein and a cake. So I just wanted to show the last little bits going on the ball here. We're gonna do this. I think we'll do this weird little, I don't know, I should have put this in earlier in the, kind of in more with the greens and stuff, but I don't know, I was seeing it more as gray, but now that I'm looking at it closer, I think it's a little bit more like gray. So I'm not sure if I'm showing what's going on here. But yeah, I think it'll be okay here. I'll just give it some extra interest towards the end, but it's close. No, I don't know. I was seeing gray, but now that I'm seeing it next to the gray, I'm seeing more green. But this is green, so I guess it's an okay spot to put it. We don't have any rules, so it's okay. I mean, my idea was to try to keep somewhat of a color gradient and like colors together so that it gradiated from light to dark, which it is definitely doing that. There's no doubt about that, that this is going from very light, bright white to ultimately to black. So we're doing just fine on our color coordinating here, I think. I don't know. Y'all are gonna have to tell me what you think of this big giant ball of yarn, and I'm sure all of you have tons and tons of scraps that you could do stuff like this with. It's, and it's another way to store your scraps, because for me, I like to put everything in skeins on my shelf, which I'll show you in a minute when we get ready to skein this. But I think, or cake it, makes it easier to store it rather than having a big box full of scraps, because then you kind of know what you have. And so you just know this is your scrap ball, and you could always cut it back apart again if you wanted to. Like if you're used to color controlling a cake of yarn, if you don't like the color sequence, you can do that with this. But to me, this is a great way to store your yarn. Now, this takes a lot of time, but if you have the time, why not do it? It's fun. it's entertaining, right? This is what this is all about. It's entertaining. It's what we like. It's just things, doing things we like to do. So this is kind of fun. Sometimes I get these little ends too short, but it works. Less yarn waste, right? Which, by the way, I'm going to show you what I have. This is what I have left from this project. Now this was, I was practicing I could have put this in there and unraveled it and put it in there, but I didn't feel like it. So this is what I have left from doing this project. Now I do have other scraps from the dress and the granny squares from the tote bag that I'll add this to, but I'll put this in my little bag of teeny tiny scraps. I don't like wasting my time tying this together, but in like this one, I could have put this one in there. It's long enough, but I didn't. So this is what we end up with, because honestly, you're not going to be able to tie this into anything. So you got to have a couple inches at least, but this is what we have left. And I'm just going to keep on winding up. And the next time you see me, we will go up into the yarn room, one of my yarn rooms, and we will start putting this on the knitty noddy so we can make a skein. Okay, we are now upstairs in one of my yarn rooms, and we have our giant ball ready to put on a knitty noddy. Before I get started, yes, this is a crochet top that I made myself a few summers ago. I can't remember exactly when I made this, but it is a summertime tank. There's no pattern for it. I just made it up. Again, another one that I just made up. Someday maybe I'll get around to recreating it and actually doing a pattern. Who knows? But I like it. It's perfect for summer. And yes, so let's get started on winding up this yarn ball on a knitty noddy. Now I'm gonna, on the floor here, I have a bowl, and I'm gonna put the yarn in the bowl because I don't want it rolling around all over the floor. So I have 3 different knitty noddies here. This one is what I call my gigantic one, the big one. This is the big knitty noddy. And this is just a bunch of PVC pipes put together. My brother made this for me when I started spinning, probably, oh my gosh, it's been a long time. I would say 18 years ago, maybe 17 years ago at least. Yeah, so this is the big one, and this is probably gonna be the one that I use for this big ball of yarn because there's a lot of yardage. So one wrap all the way around this is 1 yard. So when you're done wrapping it, if you count one side, the strands on one side, multiply that by 2, that's going to give you the yardage for your skein of yarn. Now these other 2 knitty noddies I have, they came in a set. This one is the bigger one. It's obviously nowhere near as big as that one, but this one can get you a basic average, 100 gram skein of yarn. And this little one then is the one that I use to make my minis with. So these 2 are the store-bought ones. And again, the main thing about a knitty noddy is you wrap it around in a specific pattern, and that's the reason why one bar goes one way and the other bar goes the other way. So that's the knitty noddy. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the big one because this is a lot of yarn, and I'm going to make sure it's set up right. I'm going to grab one end of my yarn, and I'm going to just kind of hold it on the edge here. And this is the side I slide off with. That's why there's no cap on the end of it. So this is where I start, and when I'm done, that's where I slide it off. So we're going to just kind of hold it together. We're going to go down one end, up the other, back down, and around the bottom. So we go top, bottom, bottom. And we're just going to keep doing this. And this, I'm going to tell you what, this can be an arm workout. And we're going to be able to go faster and faster at this. And we're going to get all of this yarn on here. And we're going to make a big, giant skein of yarn. And when you're a spinner, of course, this is how you need to get your yarn off your bobbin. You can wrap it onto this knitty noddy and you create those beautiful skeins of yarn that then you can put in your on your ball winder, your swift, and then your ball winder, and then create your own yarn cakes. I'm done. Okay. So now what I do is I usually put it between my legs and I take an end and twist it and tie it off on one end. And I'm giving it plenty of extra here because I'm going to do it twice. Because I actually might do it 3 times because this is such a big yarn skein that I'm just going to let that lay flat. And then I have to find the end on the other side and do the same thing. So I will pull it out and I do the same thing on the other side. I twist it and then just kind of tie it off like this. Do the same thing, do it a few times because I don't want this to become a big giant tangled mess. So this is how we keep the skein together. Now, if I were putting this up to sell or market it or something, I would also put ties, you know, in here to kind of hold it together. So, you know, when you buy a skein of yarn from the yarn shop, you have to cut the ties out before you put it on or after you put it on your knitty noddy, you got to cut those ties out so that it will wind onto your ball winder. All right, here it is. It's on there. All of this is on there. So now I'm gonna just pull it off from the end. Oh, I broke it. Oh my gosh. Oh no, I broke my knitty noddy. Oh, okay, no big deal. I'll just need to get a replacement piece for that. Wow, that thing has lasted like forever and now it's broke. Okay. Anyway, so here it is. And then all we do is we twist it a little bit, but this is so big. Normally we would twist it together so that it winds up on itself and makes a big skein. But this is, and then we would push it in together. Like this is going to be a tangled mess at some point, I think. Anyway, there we go. So because it's short, it's not long, this knitty. What I should have probably done is had a bigger knitty noddy. But there it is. There is our skein, the leftover Premier yarn from the Yarn Box Challenge. All right, here we are. We're gonna see if we can get this thing on the knitty noddy. I mean on the, not the knitty noddy, excuse me, my Swift. See if we can get this on here without any issues. Get it on there. Let's hold it up. Okay. I think we got it. Close enough. Okay, now we're going to undo the ends. Untie these ends that we tied so that we can grab one of them. And now, I don't know whether I'm going to put the black in the middle or the white in the middle. I think I'm going to go with white in the middle. So this just seems to be an easier. Although I don't know, it's on the inside. So let's see where the black is. Because I started with black when I put it on the Knitty Noddy. I can just get this undone. Sometimes this is, I tie these knots a little too much. And yes, I just use my little knitting needle to try to get this undone because sometimes it's tight. Okay, yeah, I think we're gonna have to start with the black because it's easier to pull from. All right, now we're gonna get it over here and push this out of the way. Get it on the big ball winder. See how this goes. Okay, we got something wrapping around the bottom here. This is not going to be good. So we got to make sure that this is out of the way. I'm just going to go a little slow here to start with. Okay, this is fun. See if we can tie it back together. And you know what? Because I'm just going to tie this an old-fashioned knot right now. We'll fix it later. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. And then grab my scissors. This will probably come back later. This is not a magic knot. I just want to get through this part. So let's see. Now it came out of here. Alright, well now I don't know how this goes in there. Oh, I forgot to feed it through there first. Now I gotta cut this again. Because this has to go through the eye of this in order for it to continue to wind. Now we're going to tie it together. did it! Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. Let's see if we can get it off of here now, though. I have a feeling I got something wrapped underneath. It's kind of stuck on the bottom, but I think I can get it. We did it! We did it! We pushed that thing to its limit, but here it is. Look at how cool that looks. We've got a finished cake. So, another challenge to create a giant yarn cake out of the leftovers from the Premier yarn. And this is incredible. So this is the end that's got the where we pull it from, and we have the white on the outside, so you can see the black on the inside and all of the colors. Now you can't see all 40 colors in there, but there's 40 colors in there. This side kind of shows it a little bit better, but there you have it. I wanted to show the big yarn cake one more time. This is how it's looking from this angle. You can see the different colors. There's different colors on each end. I think it came out pretty cool. I was a little worried that I wasn't going to be able to get this off of the ball winder, or that something else crazy was going to happen. I was afraid I might break my Swift since I broke my knitty noddy. But we were successful, and now we have this giant yarn cake that we can make something else with. Let me know what you think I should make with this. And if you like this content and you want to see more things like this, let me know. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, and thanks for watching. And I'll see you again soon.